It's no fun when our kids are sick, but we may just have found the silver lining. Apple and raspberry and orange flavoured electrolyte slushies made by Rehydrate.
Rehydrate slushies are a tasty way to get essential electrolytes into our little ones when they're dehydrated from sickness or even just the Aussie heat. They're delicious and they'll help your little ones feel better in no time. Grab Rehydrate from Coles today.
It's a Happy Families podcast with Dr. Justin Coulson. We're Luke and Susie, parents of 3 little boys, and this is the podcast for those of us who are time-poor parents who just want answers now.
And one message that came through to the show recently, Luke, said this: I would love if you would be able to chat about balance on your show at some point. I currently feel like I'm being pulled in a million directions.
And most of us go, a million directions? Is that all?
It is a day and age where we often have a lot of commitments and a lot of different things pulling us in lots of different ways and lots of things to fill our time with. Someone to try and bring some wisdom around this whole area is Dr. Justin Coulson. And this time we're kind of taking you a bit broader than just families. You do tend to specialise in parents and families, but on the whole, this whole area of balance in our homes and in our life is something that I guess we're thinking about all the time.
It is. I'm not sure that I believe in it. I'm not sure that it's really achievable. What I would prefer to focus on is how we can be intentional about what we're doing, how we can focus our awareness. Where our attention goes, our energy flows. And so I'm more inclined to say, are you going to get balance? Well, probably not, because there's always something that's urgent. There's always something that a fire that needs to be put out. Instead, let's look at ways that we can prioritise, focus on the roles that matter most, and focus on being intentional in the moment that we're in.
Yeah, and understanding things are seasonal too sometimes. I know, I look at Luke's life and it's ridiculous the amount of times he's working 7 days a week for a couple of weeks in a row, but we know that's that season. And his life might feel like it's out of balance for a while, but he's actually getting energised the whole time. He doesn't feel out of balance, but the family life gets a little knocked out of the way.
A bit skew. I mean, look, I travel around the country. I'm in and out of corporations and schools and organisations on a daily basis, literally from one end of this country to the other and even overseas. And so there are times where I'm on the road for longer than I want to be, and that's very hard for the family. We try to minimise that, but it's really hard. So from that point of view, there's very little balance. But when you're focused on the micro picture, when you're zooming in really close, it's hard to know whether you're in balance or not. You need to step back and have a look at the week or have a look at the month and say, well, on balance, how has the month gone? So if we just focus on balance for a moment before we move to intention and intentionality, what we do in our family is we have things like Super Saturday. So Saturdays and Sundays are sacred days for our family because I'm so busy during the week, like most parents, out and about doing stuff, and then the afternoons are busy and the mornings are busy and the evenings are exhausting. And so Saturday and Sunday, we try to get some balance back, and we try to make sure that we have a monthly camping trip. We don't do it every month. We probably could be better, but most months we go away for 24 hours or 48 hours. Sometimes it takes longer to pack the darn car than we're actually camping for, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we do that, and it's just so refreshing and rejuvenating and balancing. And you can go camping once a month, even if it's in the backyard. The kids love to have that experience. Get a little brazier from the local hardware store. They'll cost you $40, $50, $60. Get some wood, roast marshmallows in the backyard. I mean, why not? Set up the 2-man tent in the backyard and camp out with the kids.
Yeah.
Or go somewhere. I always go somewhere close to food because I don't want to cook while I go camping, so I buy pizza because I'm lazy and it's just too hard to...
You're efficient, I believe is the word.
Right, that's exactly right. but again, this is about the balance. I don't want to go camping with my kids and lose the opportunity to be with them because I've got to clean dishes in semi-cold water in a basin that's too small for anything to fit.
Yes.
All the dramas that go with that. Other things that we can do in our home, we've discovered that mornings are a challenge for a couple of our daughters. 6 daughters, it's obvious that some of them aren't going to like mornings.
Yeah.
And so we wake them up 15 minutes early as a result of the fact that they don't like mornings. Which sounds like torture.
It does.
But then we say to them, would you like a massage before we get the morning going? And they respond so well to that. We lay them on this sofa-y thing, and we give them a 5-minute massage, their feet or their hands or their shoulders or their back, and it helps them to wake up in a really nice, balanced way. It helps us to be intentional in our relationship and start the day in a way where we can say, what are you looking forward to today? How are you feeling about life? We can start to engage in conversation with them. These are the kinds of things that can help us to get balance by doing little things here and there. Take a 20-minute vacation personally during the day. Maybe it's during your lunch break and you can just go somewhere quiet at work and have 20 minutes where you just have your own space. Or maybe if you're at home, you run a bath and have a 20-minute bath, or you go for a 20-minute walk with the dog, just to get out of the house and get out of the routine of the cleaning and the drama and all the stuff that's got to be done. And, people keep on saying, but I don't have time. There's this law, I can't remember the name of the law, I think it's called Parkinson's law, that any activity that you're doing will expand to fill the amount of space that you have to do the activity.
Yeah.
So if you reduce the space by doing something else, it's amazing how much you can still get done.
Yeah.
So go for the 20-minute walk, have that 20-minute vacation. These things help us to get balance.
It's interesting because we often throw out the cliche of using the aeroplane analogy of putting the oxygen mask on yourself before you try and help others. But part of the intentionality that you're talking about is if you feel like you're pulled in a million different directions, then maybe you're the one who needs to take that 15 minutes and intentionally go, take a breather. Relax, calm. If it's read a book, if it's and you say if you take 15, 20, 30 minutes, what does it take to suddenly feel like you've got more energy and the ability to be intentional with everything else?
So there's also a big difference between me time and we time. And typically if people feel like they're out of balance and their families are out of balance, there's that inclination to have me time, and a little bit of that is important as we've just identified. But what the research shows is that when we invest in we time, when we're intentional about the way we spend our time with our family, and when we get that right, we actually feel more balanced. So let me give you another couple of examples from my family or from families that I know. We're a family that has a faith background. You don't have to have a faith background to do this, but we have what we call our 15 minutes of faith every morning at 6:45. And I play a song on the piano. I can play about 3 songs, and that's one of them. So I play the song on the piano. When the kids hear that, they know that that's the time to come into the living room so that we can have our 15 minutes together. And during that time, we read inspirational ideas and stuff, or we memorize poems or quotes, or we talk about our day, and we spend our morning in that with that focus. Now again, you don't have to have a faith to do that. You might find an inspirational poem and say, kids, we're going to memorize this for the next 2 weeks, or we're going to learn about somebody who did something inspiring each morning so that we can learn from them how to be curious or how to have perseverance. We can talk about values and character traits and virtues and teach our children this stuff, regardless of our philosophical underpinnings. So we do that every morning at 6:45 after the kids have had their massage. It's a great way to get the morning going. And then we crank up some music because that helps everybody to feel good for the rest of the morning. Some other families that I know, they'll have one night per week where there are no screens, there are no interruptions, there are no meetings, there are no appointments, there are no exceptions. Everybody is together and they have their family night where they play games or they talk or they do stuff, and they're actually intentional about what they're doing.
Great.
And we can do all these sorts of things. I mean, you're only limited by your imagination. And it's amazing what happens when we forget about me time and we focus on we time intentionally. We feel like that balance comes back.
My guess is that your kids are more efficiently able to take care of themselves because you've made sure they've started the day in a good space. That, like, as in what it returns to you, and whether this is your intention or not, like, you probably have to put less emotion and effort into them to get ready to get into their day because of what you've done here.
Yeah, I think so. The other thing that we do, and it's probably worth just highlighting, is we don't tell our kids what to do to get ready in the morning. We ask them what they still need to do. Which takes away all of that correction and direction and all of the stress. Instead of saying, where are your shoes? Why haven't you got your shoes? What do you mean you don't know where your shoes are? And, all that.
Yeah, that sounds like my morning morning.
Okay.
Instead of
Bringing up
doing
the
that,
emotions.
we just say to the children, what's next? What do you still need to do? Do you need any help? And so they have to sort of run through in their mind, what have I done? Okay, I've packed my bag, but I haven't had breakfast. Yeah, I need some breakfast. Okay, do you need any help with that? No, I'm fine. Do you know what I mean? And so we don't tell them what to do. We ask them what needs to be done, and then we ask them if they need any help. And it's remarkable how much more effective they are because we're not on their case.
Yeah, great. I love that. I love that. I'm already picturing changes in my head. Dr. Justin Coulson, you bring the wisdom. Thank you so very much for answering our question about balance.
I think we need to go to his place and be a part of his family too if there's massages
I
every
know,
morning.
right? It's my first thought too.
Thanks, Dr. Justin.
Thanks, guys.
For more information on all of Dr. Justin's books, podcasts, programs, you can find them all at happyfamilies.com.au. But don't forget, Justin is available to speak at your school or organisation. You can find out more at justincoulson.com.